good to see you right here on Your World. It is Monday, Mindful Monday, and it's actually 24th day of November 2025. And the reason why we're having this conversation today is because we're gearing up towards 16 days, I want to say 25 days, 16 days of activism, and this is against gender-based violence, which starts tomorrow on the 25th of November, okay? So we'll be having a conversation today on technology-facilitated gender-based violence and get to understand what exactly is it, who is more at risk, and how do we make our online spaces, our digital spaces safe for all of us, men, women in general, so that we do not have cases of cyberbullying amongst so many other things that facilitate gender-based violence in the digital spaces. So it's going to be an amazing conversation. You want to stick around until the end of the show. But even as we start this conversation, just to give a warning that maybe there's some people who might be triggered by this conversation, then probably just take a break, walk away a little bit, or if you need to reach out to someone, there's so many hotlines as far as gender-based violence desks are concerned and hotlines, so find help. But hey, let's stick together and get to understand technology-facilitated gender-based violence. What exactly is it, and how do we help people, okay? What is gender-based violence when you're talking about the digital spaces? What is not? And there's some people who say, yes, it's abuse, but it is not crime. So is that true? Is it not? Well, we have the perfect person to discuss with us this conversation this morning. And on my immediate left, we have Dr. Molly Mwiga, who is a consultant clinical psychologist, joining us this morning. Karibu sana. Thank you so much for making the time. And we also have Dr. David Njoga, who is a cybersecurity expert, joining us this morning for this very important conversation. So karibu sana, Dr.
Thank you very much.
And yes, I know you've noticed an empty chair. We have, we're expecting Sylvia Minor, who's a gender data communications expert from UN Women, joining us in just a few. But Dr. David, we're wearing orange today. I know people at home will be like, Kwani, what's happening? What's with the orange? Do you want to just explain to us why we're wearing orange today? And maybe for the next 60 days. Yeah.
I wish to put this to Dr. Molly.
Okay, yes. Dr. Molly.
From my perspective, I look at orange as a bold color. Yeah, it presents a lot of enthusiasm and, you know, a lot of pragmatism in activism. Yes, so that is my perspective of it. But in terms of this, I pass it on to Dr.
Okay, Dr. Molly, you've been nominated.
Thank you, Doc. Yes, exactly. It's a color representing what we have come to advocate for, because our advocacy starting today will be ending gender-based violence, and for specifically, so the color, it represents exactly that, and optimism that we shall get there.
That it is possible. I really like that, because when you think about it, it's just so sad and grim just to imagine how many women experience gender-based violence, and not just women, but also we have men who experience some form of gender-based violence. So I like the color of optimism that, you know what, we will get there, where we say we completely end any form of gender-based violence. And we also have an audience this morning. So hi, good morning. I see only one person has orange. The rest are kupata memo. Mulikuwa wapi memo ikive? Oh, kuna some bit of orange. Sindio? Akona some bit of orange over there. Karibuni sana. Thank you. Thank you for making the time. And we also have a question for you this morning. And the question it goes, have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? Have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying is the question that we're asking you this morning. So engage with us at NTV Kenya across all board. It's how you can reach us, and also use our digital, not our digital, but our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400, or better yet, give us a call. We're live. So that means you can call in anytime, and let's have a conversation really on gender-based violence. And as we wait for Sylvia, because Sylvia is here to give us all the data and just paint the picture for us as how we're doing, and not just here in Kenya, but also across the African continent and globally as well. But like we said, from 25th November to 10th December, we mark 16 days of activism to end gender-based violence under the theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. And Doc, let's just start with you, Dr. David. Technology-facilitated gender-based violence. Can we just start at the basics? What exactly does it mean? What is it not?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Winnie, for that question. And let me break the ice and put it to perspective. Of course, we live in two realms in life. We have the physical world and the virtual world, where those who are religious call the spiritual world. So whatever happens physically, of course, is being addressed in other fora. So when you talk about technology-enabled, we are focusing on those malicious activities that cause harm to various members of, let me say, the female and the male gender, and that is done using technology. Let me explain a little about technology. Now, technology is just that capabilities enhanced by the various modern capabilities of hardwares, software applications, and the connectivity that that brings what we call the cyberspace. Those capabilities bring other capabilities further, which make them more attractive, knowing that we are actually increasingly getting digitized as individuals, as companies, as governments, and so on. So it means that we are undertaking our activities on using digital platforms. We are doing our business using digital platforms. You know, we are breaking geographical boundaries, so we can transact businesses online from Australia. We can attend classes from Canada. You know, we can give care to our families, even virtually, from hospital beds in India, and so on and so forth. So that platform, therefore, means that it is adopted by many people, and that is a good side of it. The other bad side of it, where we are calling it violence, is what I like referring to my first lesson when I was an undergraduate student over 30 years ago, when WWW was referred to as the Wild Wild Web. So we see a lot of rogue activities taking place in this platform. And this is what we really call misuse of the digital platforms. So part of the misusers of these platforms are actually instilling violence against members of the society. So my definition is that this is the use of technology or these connectivities to disrupt, the peace, the privacy, the confidence of members of this community.
Thanks, Doc. And again, Dr. Molly, you see, when in the online spaces, it's sometimes very difficult, sort of like a gray area, to understand what is considered violence or what is not. Because in the physical space, you abuse someone verbally, you abuse someone physically, you abuse someone emotionally, we're able to tell that this is violence. So in the digital spaces, how then do we categorize violence?
Thank you, Winnie. In the digital world, as my co-facilitator have said, it is like a spiritual world where people are not, it's not real. And as you say, the physical world, you'll do it and somebody will say. However, when we are using technology, we use words that are demeaning. We said images that are abusive to other people. We also character assassinate people by talking about their character, which is not true. We malign the names of others and also dent them in a way that it's not true. And how we categorize it is that the fact that the user or the person who was targeted by that abuse felt disrespected, felt demeaned, felt they were not comfortable with what was either commented, the views, the images, or what was released into the digital space that infringed on their privacy, dented their identity, and also worked against their esteem and confidence, then that specifically we deem it as an abuse.
Okay, so then the perpetrator, so not like what do they look like, but what are some of the characters that probably they present? Because again, this is someone behind the keyboard, so you're not able to tell. Sometimes some people use pseudo accounts, so you're not able to tell who exactly this person is. But do they have like a specific character that they present? What exactly does it say? By the time someone trolls another person or character assassinates another person or leaks, intimate, say, photos or videos of another individual, what exactly does it say about the perpetrator now in the digital spaces?
Definitely, the perpetrator then will not be a good person, to say it in the very simple language, because the person intended to harm another person. And these are people who could have character problem, definitely, because they could be having what we call social disorders, where you want to go against the norm, and the norm in human relation is respect and upholding somebody's esteem to the highest level. Okay. So when you sit behind the your keyboards to character assassinate a person, then your motivation could, there are so many motivations. Maybe some are your enemies, some are political enemies, some are your intimate relationship excess, and so they are trying to follow up and stalking you, what exactly, where do you go these days, and all those kind of things. So some of the characteristic could be that this person is insecure if we are talking about relationships, but also competitors. If maybe it's in business world, we are talking about competitors, and so the motivation, of course, is ill. Because the character, you cannot be harming another person with a good, good character.
Doc, I'm also curious to get from you in terms of, does it always mean that a person who sort of like bullies, trolls, stalks, you know, sort of like perpetrates violence against the other person online, does it always mean that they are bad people, okay? And do we have instances where people who would ideally consider good people, have actually done that to the other person without necessarily knowing that we are doing this, okay? So there's so much to unpack, but let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll address that and much more, and also get to go through your feedback on the question that we're asking you this morning, and that is, have you experienced any form of cyberbullying? Have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? Is the question that we're asking you this morning at NTV Kenya across all board. Is how you can reach us. Give us a call, or better yet, use our WhatsApp number 0112 500 400. See you after the break.
You know, I think about how quickly a story spreads in this country. 1 minute, somebody is just living their life. And then the next minute, you are a trend, you're a hashtag. Your face and your content is all over the internet. And that's why depression from cyberbullying is the rising cause of young people contemplating unaliving themselves. That's what we're doing to people in this country, around the world, but I'm speaking for Kenya. By the way, I know we're very good at our savage game. I think we're in the top 5 countries in the world. If Kenyans decide they're coming for you, my Lord, but I wish we could use that energy to push for the change we want to see as a country, and not use it to bring people down for simply being them. People might be sitting right now arguing, but Janet, nobody has a right to send nudes. What were they thinking? It's okay. So then you let the law deal with them. Let life deal with them. Why do you have to make it your job to completely rip that person to shreds? So sometimes, before you post something, just pause and ask yourself, would I want this to be done to me? Hopefully, the pause most of you decide to take is where that change begins, where you start to say, I don't think I need to be part of this. It's official with Janet Bogwa. Remember, let us lead with kindness. It's not a weakness, it's actually where our strength begins.
That's our very own Janet Mbogo, really giving her thoughts as far as online gender-based violence and cyberbullying and what we do on a day-to-day basis. And like we said, sometimes we do this subconsciously. We think, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's just jokes, jokes, but we don't know how much we're harming the other person, okay? And that is the subject of the conversation today, even as we gear towards 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And this year, the focus is on technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And we're asking you this morning, have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? Have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? Is the question that we're asking you this morning at NTV Kenya across all board. Is how you can reach us or give us a call, or better yet, use our WhatsApp number 0112 500 400 and tell us if you have ever experienced any form of cyberbullying, or have you ever bullied someone online, okay? But I know that is a difficult question because nobody will say, well, I did. But if you have and you've learned from your ways, okay, and you want to tell us your experience, feel free to do so as well so that we can correct each other, okay? But Sylvia's here. Sylvia Minor is here. She is tunasema yeye ndo gender data, you know, communications expert. Yani numbers ziko kwa akili yake. It's good to see you. Sylvia, karibu sana. From the UN Women. And I know UN Women are very, very, you know, big and very key as far as the 16 days of activism. Can we just start with the numbers? What are the numbers saying? Who is more at risk? And I know those are like 3 in one question.
Yes.
Yeah, but can we go through the data first of all? What are the numbers telling us, either across the globe or in the African continent, as far as online gender-based violence?
Yeah, thanks for that intro. I really enjoyed hearing my colleagues also bring in the introductions about technology-facilitated GBV. So in terms of the numbers, globally, the latest data that we have shows that a woman is killed every 10 minutes. And that is actually an increase from the previous year, because that's last year's data. So the year before that, it was every 11 minutes, which means there's an upward trajectory, right? There's an uptick. Rather than getting better, it seems to be getting worse. And these are some of the things that we've really heavily flagged as an organization, but also nationally. You find that the Kenya Police, you find that National Bureau of Statistics, they're all raising an alarm that there's a very high incidence of GBV. Of course, we are seeing it in increased rates of femicide as well, because just last year, in the last 2-3 months of the year, I think from September to November or December, there were more than 100 women killed, in Kenya alone. And at the beginning of the year, we saw similar numbers just between January and February. So the numbers are really not looking good at all. If you look at in terms of the number of women overall who have experienced GBV between the ages of, let's say, 15 and 49 in Kenya, the numbers are up to 33%. Yeah, but if you look at the numbers for men, for example, okay, for sexual GBV, right, I think the numbers are slightly lower, right? They're about 13% for Kenya. But if you look at the same numbers for men, sexual GBV, men between the ages of 15 and I think 54, if I'm not mistaken, the numbers are half. It's 6.9%, 7%. So yes, it's true. We acknowledge GBV is, the G is gender. The G is not women.
It does not mean women.
Yes, the G is gender, which is both men and women. But the reality is that women are much more affected, up to twice as more affected. And when we look at the perpetrators, because that's another issue that we need to really look at, who's doing this? Is it the man on the street? Is it some random guy? No, we find a lot of it is intimate partners. So either husband, boyfriend, your ex, your fiancé. And we know, of course, we find a lot of these femicide cases happening when someone tries to leave the other person and the person refuses to be left. As we say in Kenya, achika, kubali kuachwa, kubali kuachwa, yeah. So we find that that's a problem. And I think what I would explain as the source of this really, one of these things is a culture that's growing of tolerating GBV, diminishing women as well and girls, and the growing interest in subjugating them. So at the UN, we are calling this the pushback against gender progress, and gender equality and women empowerment, and we are really pushing back against that pushback. And I think we'll discuss it later in the show, but one of these things that we are seeing contributing to this is the manosphere. I know that's a big technical term, but we are seeing an increased culture of hatred of women or misogyny, or blaming women for all the ills of the world or the ills of men. If a man is broke, it's like it's these women. And we're seeing that globally, actually. It's not just in Kenya. Although in Kenya, like we've seen in the video by Janet, the internet is very loud. So it may feel like it's only in Kenya, but it's actually something that's being perceived across the globe.
And you know what? It's very interesting because a lot of us would say, and especially when Kenya is trolling other countries, we all unite, okay? And we say, usicheze na wa Kenya, sisi wa Kenya, you know, we're all this. But then when you ask someone, have you ever bullied someone online? We're all like, no, I've never, me. Can never be me. But then again, when it comes to us uniting against other countries, it's like we're all in that front. So I don't know what that says of us as a society. Probably Dr. Moli, you can take this. What does that say of us as a society? Because there's no clear picture of what a perpetrator looks like. We can't sit and say, ooh, okay, well, a couple. You know, we cannot. So what does that say of us as a society? Is it a fight of men versus women? Is it the family, you know, at the family setup that we've lost it completely? Where is the problem? Where has it all begun?
I can see the concerns, and I think it all began with a changing of our attitudes and it is the way we perceive people and the way we perceive different topics, and also our culture and norm. And as you have said, Kenya is a cultural country, and therefore the more we have digital spaces that talk ill about women, show like all social problems can be attributed to women, then that means we are changing the narrative. And therefore the younger men that are coming up and people have now started developing an attitude, a negative attitude towards women, towards women progress and feminism in general, by bringing this attitude like because women are equal with our Beijing so now there is the equality, that advocacy for equality, where men and women share the equal rights. And when we come now to this space that want to bring on board this narrative of no women, there is a certain space for women which should not be at the same level with men. And so they create this narrative like we need to reclaim the man, we need to reclaim the power, and that now brings the changes the attitude towards women. And because of that now, we normalize abuse, we normalize violence, and we develop now that culture of being disrespectful is acceptable, being violent is acceptable, being abusive to women online is acceptable, and we mobilize people against women leaders, against the women advocates, and also even women in media. And people will just troll and say so much things about a lady, which now creates a certain culture, which is now shifting from the traditional respect for women now to disrespect and trying to bring them down so that they are not at the same level with the men counterparts.
And it's just sad because, again, you hear a lot of sort of like defenses, quote unquote, that but you're in the limelight, but you created the account, so that it is you who sort of like brought this to yourself by the fact that you are online. That means we control you and you have absolutely no reason to question why we're doing this. So Doc, again, I'm curious to understand, are there instances that sometimes we do it subconsciously, thinking that it's just jokes, you know, and what does that make of us who think, no, me, I can never bully someone, or like, what do you mean? But then again, we do it, you know, subconsciously.
Yeah, let me just maybe just have an extension of what Dr. Molly just mentioned. As a society, we have moved our attitudes, our activities to the digital platform. And that, to me, is a concern. From where I come from, we look at the community as, you know, shifting from how we used to do things traditionally. And it's a way of, you know, it's a shift from, you know, the norm. I have a friend who belongs to some welfare group, and he was evicted from that group. Because as that group was formed, they said, our intention is to have physical meetings monthly for engagement. So at one time he wasn't available and he sent his contribution. He was told, no, it's not about your contribution, we want your physical commitment. So we see some comfort zone where a lot of the population, and you can confirm, Sylvia can confirm that we have over 60% of the population being young people. And if you look at the attitudes in terms of convenience, doing things from their fingertips. So they would rather conduct all their businesses from their phones. You could be in your house and your young daughter or son wants to ask you to buy them a gift or something. Instead of coming to you in the study room, they'll send you an SMS.
And yes, they're upstairs in their bedroom.
Yes. So we see somebody may have, you know, crossed your path, and you could simply come and say, hey, Winnie, I don't like the way you handled this matter in the office yesterday. You know, people prefer going online. Okay, so that is how rapidly we are shifting to dealing with our issues or transacting all our business online.
It's like we're disconnecting from
that disconnect from
the physical connection.
Yes, so we find everything's being transacted online. Somebody wants to share their whole day's activities online, from when they wake up, when they're making their bed, when they're taking a shower, when they're taking a, you know, all that. While subconsciously thinking that that is really stylish. But at the end of the day, they're creating a very serious digital footprint that can be taken advantage of by other criminals. So just to respond to your question, yes, it is true. There are a lot of people who don't really mean bad, owing to the fact that not many people do not really understand what crime is or what some of these offenses really are. From where I sit, from the epicenter of the National Computer Cyber Crimes Committee, where I've worked in terms of cybersecurity policy, we look at understanding of some of these offenses being a challenge. If you look at one of the offenses that we have, I think under Section 27, cyberbullying, not many people understand what it is. Even in its own definition, it's also quite vague. So what people are doing, they may not really link it to cyberbullying. And when you call them out, they say polybus in the Kenyan way. And you look at them and really, they didn't mean bad. So I think there's quite a lot that needs to be done in terms of letting people know what constitutes these offensive activities online. So that there can be some change in attitude in terms of where do the boundaries end, your freedom, because again, some of these offenses around even against privacy really is not well articulated, because it's really against the fundamental human rights. So somebody wants to get the freedom of nitakwambia kwani mimi sikugopi,
right? Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and
yes. So as they do that, they infringe on freedoms of other people. That's sinipicha tu nimepiga. Just like when I was coming, I was walking down along this Kimathi Street. Somebody was taking photos of people who are walking ahead of us. While I felt it was very wrong, I had powers, in as much as I have civilian powers to arrest them, but I didn't want to get to that drama.
You might be arrested in this process for arresting the other person.
So I think we really need to, as a society, we need to have these conversations ongoing. We need to have a lot of introspection. We need to have a lot of definition of norms. How do we deal with our issues in this era of digital transformation, where everyone is doing everything online?
Okay, do you want to just, now that you're the expert here and you're here today, just help really understand the cyberbullying, the violence and trolling and stalking and all those things, and what exactly it is, in a nutshell, so that we all understand that the next time we see a post, we're able to, call out that person for being, a cyberbully, or for trolling, or, for just being violent online.
Let me talk about gender-based violence being in three broad categories. The first category being cyberbullying or cyber harassment. The second one, I'll talk about them shortly. The second one is cyber stalking, and the third one is now the non-consensual sharing of intimate images and so on. Now, bullying or harassment, it's still about someone just being a nuisance, let me call it so. Mtu tu anasumbua, name calling. You've seen how even members of the society, some leaders are being called names. Some names could be in the positive side, if you lifted a very heavy load, somebody could call you wewe ni ndovu. That's a good one. But some are really in the negative and becomes a nuisance. They keep pressing it on you. If somebody wants to establish contact with you in terms of communicating with you, it could be for a political reason, it could be for a relationship and so on. And you may tell them, and this happens a lot, and if you look at Madam Dr. Molly could confirm, if you look at the social fabric, somebody, you could tell somebody, if I say, sorry, I'm in a relationship, and they keep sending you, hi, can we have coffee? When can we meet? Can we have a drink? And so on. And that is really how this nuisance.
I see the ladies at the back agreeing with you. It's like we experience this, right?
And really, that is bullying. You look at the other way in terms of cyber stalking. And cyber stalking is really, we are really transitioning from the physical realm. A typical Kenyan, 98% of Kenyan, when they make a call to you, what's the first question? Uko? Yes. So it means that a lot of people are interested in knowing where you are, even if your location is not really what they wanted. So again, now people use some of these online tools and platforms to really find out where you are. Of course, there's a good use of that geolocation, especially for criminal investigation purposes. But some people say, okay, umejificha, nitakupata tu. Then they have some funny ways that before you sit down for dinner at your favorite restaurant with your friends, they show up. Say, okay, ulikuwa umezima simu, ndio wewe huyo. All right. So again, that is the other part of it. Then now, the third part of it is now the non-consensual sharing of intimate images. Again, I say one of the biggest mistakes that ever happened is to have better capabilities of photography on mobile phones. Yeah, because again, apart from overloading the internet with a lot of data, every minute, every second, from selfies and so on, it is also a way of sharing a lot of those intimate, not even intimate, let me also talk about some of these personal images which are really used against people. Yeah, you take a photo, you're having lunch. Next minute, somebody is calling you that na deni umekataa kulipa.
Na unapost umekula nini?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you buy a new car, somebody says, okay, na kesi yetu ya shamba ulinyang'anya bado iko kotini. Yeah, so a lot of things now will evolve out of that. Just because of, you know, how you are posting, how well you are doing. That's why we say, if you must post things online, just post things that show how hopeless, how reckless, you know? Yeah. Because again, they say, you know, the local witch is working overdrive.
Is working overdrive
To make sure that all the positive things that you post will be used against you.
But Doc, then how do we strike a balance? Because there's one aspect of you want to create memories, you want something to look back. You know, as your kids, for example, you know, they would look back and say, oh, this is how we looked when we were young, you know? Like, how do we balance that in terms of not completely be oblivious of the fact that technology, the digital spaces are here, but also still have an online presence? How do we balance that? And then the other question would be, how then do we navigate safety? And especially for women and girls who, again, and especially like in high school and even in primary school, we still see these girls being trolled online, and especially on like TikTok, you know, accounts and whatnot. So the bigger question is then, how do we navigate online and at the same time be safe? We're doing a break, because Sylvia, I do not want to rush you into understanding, because Doc talked about what is it called? The terminologies, right? And you mentioned manosphere. We've heard of the red pill, of the blue pill, you know, so we really want to understand what exactly does that mean and how does that impact, you know, the lives of women and girls, especially in the digital spaces. But can we do that after the break? Sure. And also the question that we're asking you this morning is, have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? That is the question that we're asking you this morning. Let's see what to WhatsApp wanasema nini. Just 1 or 2 comments before we pay our bills. Okay, this one says, good morning. Help clarify, those who are sent fare and they do not show up, is this a form of crime? And can it also be classified as cyber crime? Okay, Doc, that's a question for you. Muda chumiwa fare na muda kula. Okay, is that a form of cyber, you know, cyber crime? Do we consider that a cyber crime or cyber crime and cyberbullying? Okay, we'll answer your question after the break, but keep sending your questions, and you know, if you've ever experienced any form of cyberbullying as well, let us know on our WhatsApp number 0112 500 400. See you after the break. Welcome back to the show. It's Mindful Monday right here on Your World, and we're beginning the week with a conversation that, if you ask me, we should talk about every single day and not just wait until the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence for us to talk about it, okay? So today is 24th, tomorrow is 25th, and that is the beginning of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And this year, the focus is on technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And we're trying to understand, I mean, we all, you know, probably have an account or, you know, have a presence as far as the digital spaces are concerned. But the bigger question is then, how do we navigate safely? How do we balance in terms of what we put out there versus what we allow other people, you know, in terms of their opinions and their influences to affect us as a people, and especially for women and girls. And today on the show, we're asking, have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? There's someone here who on Facebook has said, there's no cyberbullying in Kenya, which I want you guys to respond to in just a second. But just in case you're trying to understand, okay, so what exactly does online gender-based violence look like? Well, let's you know, have a reminder for you. So this is what it looks like, the different types of online gender-based violence. So it is non-consensual intimate image sharing, or revenge porn, if you like, cyber stalking and harassment. This is DMs, comments, and mentions as well. There's the doxing, which is publishing of private information, deepfake, pornography as well. And I'm sure Doc mentioned, you know, a little bit of this when we started the show. And then sextortion, which is blackmail using explicit content, gender-based hate speech and trolling, online grooming and exploitation, and especially for really, really young girls, which we've had and seen, and also algorithmic bias and shadow banning of women and girls, plus so many others, which again cannot fit into our infographic, which again, Doc, probably you will also tell us more, and especially those ones that we don't know, but we end up doing, on a day-to-day basis. So those are some of the types of online gender-based violence. And Sylvia, for that person who says, there's no cyberbullying here in Kenya, I wonder what you have to say. But also talk about the other terms, that are online. We talked about manosphere as well. We talked about the red pill and the blue pill, and probably someone is coming across those terms for the very first time. So probably just make people understand what they mean and how they impact women and girls.
Okay, great. No, I really liked that question before the break about the eating fair, but we'll get to that.
Yes.
So there's no cyberbullying in Kenya. Well, the data shows something very different. Recent studies show that up to 90% of women and girls in Nairobi's tertiary institutions have actually witnessed online bullying, online GBV, and all the other things that fall under that. And out of those, up to 40% have actually experienced it themselves. Yeah, and these are kind of conservative numbers because also we know that reporting is very low, which is one of the issues. Yeah, of course, also based on digital literacy and lack of information about the laws that one can resort to, right? But there's also the issue of, in I think 5 countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, I think Kenya was one of them, South Africa, Ethiopia, I'm forgetting the other 2, I think Uganda was one, and Senegal, which of course is all the way in the West. Up to 30% of women and girls said that they've experienced this. So different data is showing similar patterns, but this is still an area that really needs a lot more investment in data, which is one of the things we are proposing, of course, because you can't tackle something that you don't understand. And data really is like a diagnostic tool. So it's the way you go to the doctor, and without them giving you a diagnosis, they cannot give you a treatment. So they'll send you to the labs, which of course none of us like. We just want to go and tell the doctor, naumwa na hapa, and then they write something. But they'll tell you no blood test, I don't know what other test, and all those things. But it's important to really get to the heart of the issue. So that's what data is in terms of solving some of these social justice and societal problems. We really need a lot of data to understand, like even you've said, what's the face of this perpetrator? What does this perpetrator look like? So that we're able to profile properly and really properly address. We also want to understand where is this GBV taking place. Like data is showing that WhatsApp and Facebook are leading. Those are the 2 main platforms where you get a lot of cyberbullying, which also raises questions about generation for me, because we know the generation that's on Facebook, and you find the bullying actually by the numbers is quite low on TikTok, quite low on X. Yeah, it's actually quite low, but the highest numbers are WhatsApp and Facebook, especially Facebook. Yeah, but to answer your question about the manosphere and the red and blue pill culture, I mean, this is a whole world on its own, and we started talking about it as far as 5 years back, I think. And really the manosphere is what we would call a dark corner of the internet, but it's now not really a corner anymore. It's spreading and becoming mainstream as we mainstream misogyny instead of mainstreaming gender equality and women empowerment, right? So the manosphere really is that area where men and boys are able to access or share toxic ideas about women's rights, about the male character, male personality, dominance, like I said, subjugation, really making women their subjects. And this narrative of men are the prize, for example, which is said sometimes on a light note, but it can have very damning effects. And this, again, I keep insisting, is something that's happening globally. And so when we talk about the red pill is those men who have subscribed to this alpha type, can't tell me anything male, and I'm entitled to whatever I want from a woman, and anything that is bad for society or for us is because of these rising issues of feminism. And where feminism is really viewed as an insult. Like in Kenya, if you're told you're such a feminist, it's almost an insult. It's like feminist wewe. You know, it's like being told, you know, some other bad thing. And yet it's not a bad word, right? Feminism really just means someone who's in it for gender equality and empowerment of all to have equal access, equal opportunities, and also for equity, because there are those who are far left behind who need that kind of affirmation or affirmative action to bring them up to par, right? Because if I'm 5 feet tall and you're 5'6", and we both want to get to 6 feet tall, you won't be given the same kind of box to step on as I will. You'll be given a 4-inch box, well, I'll be given a 1-foot box because I'm much shorter than you. So really that's what affirmative action is. It's not favoring one over the other. It's just helping people to come to the same place, leveling the playing field. So that's the red pill. The blue pill, on the other hand, is the opposite, where men who are empathetic or sensitive, if I can say that, or thoughtful or kind or humane, if I can go as far as saying that, are perceived as what they call simps, which is another word, but basically men who have no spine, have no backbone, who are not to be respected, and basically need to be told man up, like take it like a man, act like a man, and also you find in this red pill, blue pill culture, there's another terminology called incels. INCEL. So in fact, I'm a mother of teen boys, so I explain these things to them. And I was asking them actually yesterday, have you heard the word simp? And I was very intrigued to know that they actually have heard that word in school. So I asked them, where have you heard it in school? So I asked them, what does it mean? Okay, so it has two meanings. One has a meaning in Minecraft, which is not relevant, but the other meaning is like someone who likes someone too much to a point where they become too weak and like fall all over themselves to impress this person, which is kind of close to the online definition of a simp. But these men are being told that you shouldn't be courteous, you shouldn't be a gentleman, you shouldn't be kind or humane to women, because that makes you a weak man. And if a woman breaks your heart, shame on you. Shame on you. Like, where were you when your heart was being broken, you know? And you see, for me, the concern for this is it not only hurts women, because then this puts a very bad narrative and makes women the enemy. Actually, that's what the manosphere is. Women are the enemy. You know how many hours a day are we committing to fearing women, you know?
Oh, yes.
So 23 to fearing women, 1 hour to earning an income. So I mean, and these are narratives that really dehumanize women. So you stop seeing them as human beings like you, who are just as worthy of care, affection, respect, and acknowledgement, but you see them as the thing, which then is very easy for it to go to femicide, because you've eliminated a problem, you've not killed a person. There's another, I'll get back to incels, but there's a murder mystery I was watching this weekend. I'm a huge fan, and it was about a murder that took place recently in Kenya of a lady called Rose Muthoni, I think in Juja, and it was trending for quite a bit. So I saw that her partner, who allegedly, the case has not gone to court yet, so the partner who allegedly killed her was actually watching violent movies and films the whole day, and the housekeeper who testified and who is giving the evidence is saying that she was horrified at what he was watching, and even worse were the comments he was making as he was watching, because as a woman was being killed on the screen, he said, that's what people like those deserve. And that night he killed his wife, allegedly. So it was... It's disturbing to see how online violence actually literally translates into real life. It's not virtual, it's not abstract, it's literally spilling over, and that's the issue. You also look at things like this murder of Ivy Wangeshi, the doctor in Moi University a few years ago. I think a few years ago, but her ex was, I think, jailed for more than 40 years, if it's last year, if I'm not mistaken. And it started with this thing like Dr. Njoga talked about, of looking for her online, trying to call her, trying to text her. At some point she puts off her phone. So he's like, oh, you've put off your phone. Exactly what you said, actually. I will find you where you are. And that is exactly what he did. And the argument he even made was, I spent more than 200,000 on her, because he sent, I think, money for birthday celebrations, blah, 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 and then he wasn't invited, which, of course, we get that can be very hurtful, but it still doesn't entitle someone. And I think that's the handicap we have. Like, we need to get over that hill and just accept it doesn't entitle someone to kill you or to rape you because they sent you fare and you so-called ate the fare. Yes, that's a breach of contract, quote unquote, quote unquote. But really, a no can still be said even at the last minute. It doesn't warrant, because like we were even just talking here during the break. I mean, just call it a bad investment. Pesa ukunywa maji all the time.
Right.
Yeah, investments, I mean, go bad all the time. And you don't go and burn down the bank. Yeah, you just accept you win some, you lose some. But this thing of feeling entitled to a woman and her body and her reputation, because she broke my heart, I'll go and slander her on social media, or I'll do the revenge porn. This is something that's very distressing, and it's really not acceptable in a civilized society.
Shouldn't be acceptable.
It shouldn't be. So incels, just to finish, incels means involuntary celibates. So I've actually gone all the way explaining to my boys what celibate means. But just for them to really be aware. So in the red pill culture, incels blame women for not having access to intimacy. So because a man is not having the sexual or intimate relations that he would desire, whether he's a single man or not, so therefore he's been rendered involuntarily celibate. It is women's fault. So basically women owe men their sexuality, their bodies. Like, you know, when you put it that way, it's really unpalatable. But that's really what the manosphere and the red pill culture is all about. And what it's doing is it's isolating men and boys, because if men and boys feel a certain way, because at the end of the day, men and boys are human beings. So they cannot be made robots the way the manosphere would like, or to be made to be so heartless. It goes against their natural fabric. Because we know men and boys are good, just the same way women and girls are good, right? So what it does, this red pill culture, it isolates those men who feel a certain human way, and if they feel heartbroken, if they feel stressed, they have nowhere to go, because God forbid they speak up and they are laughed out of town.
That's the thing.
So and then that's why you see rising depression, you see the rising suicide. So the numbers may not necessarily have been brought up yet to make that link, but there's a reason, there must be a reason why we are seeing this increased rates of frustration, and especially among the youth, because you're really supposed to man up, you're not supposed to own up to any problems, especially not in relationships.
That's not true. That's not true, because you're a human being at the very least. And probably, Dr. Molly, then we'll come back to you to understand. So then how do we, because again, we're living in a society, say for example in families, right, and cases where we have like intimate partner violence, how do we support one another, you know, in these spaces where we don't find cases where, say, men, for example, are not asking for help because, hey, you know, or they're expressing their emotions and we're like, you know, or they're crying and we're like, how do we support so that we prevent cases of violence, whether it's in the digital spaces or, you know, physically and emotionally as well? How do we do that? But I want to open the floor to the audience for questions, concerns, because we usually start, maybe Nicola concern, and then you go to your question. But please keep it short and sweet, and direct your question to, you know, one of the panelists. Okay, you may know I'm Konosawa. Go. Please start with your name and keep it very short.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Juliet. Okay, my question this morning goes like, what role does gender-based violence play in the journey of a child with a cancer, based in the UN, whereby there's a CYMG?
Maybe Sylvia. Okay, we'll just rephrase it.
Okay. In the UN, there's a department of the youth and children.
Okay.
So my question goes like,
do we? Let's give someone a chance, and then you, as you find your question.
What role does gender-based violence play in the journey of a child with a cancer, concerning in the cultural beliefs, stigma, and the blame faced on their mothers?
Interesting. We'll try and unpack, but sort of like see where the question comes from. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Mwanaharakati J. Habuba, and just to add on something, nimesikiza mengi lakini kuna jambo hapa kwamba katika jamii ambayo tunaishi sasa hivi, ni lazima tuangalie pande zote mbili. Nimesikiza our panelists wakisema kwamba gender based violence sasa namba kubwa ambayo inaathirika ni wanawake. Lakini kwangu nasema kwamba ni ile haikui recorded, lakini wanaume ndio wanaathirika sana. Sababu sisi wanaume ama mwanaume ni mtu ambaye ananyamaza, haongelei mambo mengi. Alafu hata wakati ambapo inatokea kwamba kesi imekuwa pale mwanamke ameripoti, unakuta kwamba mwanaume awe na makosa, ile kesi itakuwa favored kwa mwanamke. Jambo hilo huwa linaathiri sana upande wa mwanaume. Kitu kingine, haya mambo na kutuma fare, kwamba mwanaume amekutumia fare, alafu unakula hauji, alafu unatarajia nini? Ile pesa labda yule mtu yupo labda amekopa, ameenda mjengo ama amefanya nini. Yeye anakutumia pesa, uje basi kwa yale ambao mlipanga nyinyi wawili wenyewe, alafu uje. Alafu akikuchukulia hatua, wewe unasema kwamba sijui amenidhalilisha, amenifanyia nini. Lakini wewe mwenyewe unakosa, unajisahau. Kwa hivyo kama jamii kuprevent jambo kama hilo ni kwamba watoto wa kike wapewe elimu ya kutosha. Manake mara nyingi wanatumia kiburi ama wanasema unajua huyu hakuna kitu hata nifanye, unaona? Na kwa mwanaume unakuta kwamba ni anasema kwa hivyo sasa mimi nimtumie fare kuja, najua vile tutapatana. Anaweza, nishaona rafiki yangu ametumia rafiki yake mwingine kutafuta yule msichana, wakamleta. By the this is reality. Mwezi wa 5 nilishuhudia msichana ameitwa maeneo hapa Rongai. Msichana ametoka Pipeline, ameitwa maeneo ya Rongai, ameenda. Alipoenda pale alikuwa amekosea yule mwanaume. Akajikuta kwamba ni amemuita. Wajua kilichotokea, yule mwanaume alimuitia wanaume wenzake 4. Wakamshughulikia, baada wamemshughulikia walimtupa. Although ni jambo mbaya, lakini sasa tukilileta katika umakini, tulichambue. Aliyekuwa na makosa ni nani? Yule msichana kwa vitendo ambavyo alikuwa akitenda. Mwishowe hadi yule mwanaume imejifika sehemu ambayo amejidharau, akaamua kutenda kile ambacho alitenda. Kuna wakati mwanaume anasema ifika 99%, acha nifungwe lakini mfunze somo. Kwa hivyo lazima tuangalie hapo.
Okay, Sylvia, I would really like you to respond to that. But yeah, let's take,
Hey, good morning.
No. Good morning.
This guy's really making me burning right now. I'm burning, literally, because I don't want to support whatever he's saying. He's my colleague, he's my friend, but there's no way a man can take revenge against a girl because she didn't give, like, for example, we can go out with someone and have some drinks. It doesn't mean that I should pay you through my body. So yeah, it does not make even sense. And then GBV really hurts very deep. And once I was a victim, and it's a bad thing. It makes someone inakufanya unakuwa, yani you can even hate if you don't know yourself very well. It can make you hate yourself, like. And I know narcissists make these things like it's a normal thing, yeah? Someone will just slap you. We saw a certain random video going through of a certain politician's daughter, and she's okay. It's not even about financial stability, but it's just that unaishi na mtu tu is not human enough, because these people actually, hata ukimuuliza alichapiwa nini, a very slight mistake, something that you can sit down and talk as grown-ups. Me, I don't support this, and by the way, people should be, I don't know what the government should do, but GBV ni venye haziripotiwi huku mtaani, they are very bad. And I want to speak to my fellow girls. That one slap that he starts with, that one slap, run for your life, because it goes from a slap, it goes from a punch. Now from the punch, it becomes something that you cannot even reverse, and it's really, really, really hurtful. Yeah.
Okay, that was good. Okay. Oh, she wanted to say something. Can we just allow her and then we'll pass the mic to you? Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
It's an honor to be here. What such a hot discussion. And personally, I can say I'm not in no way holding hands with gender-based violence, but there are those which are positive. Personally, I was so fat.
Okay.
I was like, not really fat, like big.
Okay.
So somebody
speak closer to the mic.
Unapatanga ni watu wenye wako na scam account, si watu wako na following kubwa, since ni online. So unapata mtu ana followers, ana DP, ana profile picture, ana anything, but they are there calling you names. So kuna time niliitwa, I was in my first year. Nikaambiwa wewe ni mnono. And I was like so tarnished, like you feel that pain. Juu ni mtu ujui, at least ndo ujicompare na yeye kidogo. But sasa it gave me the positive energy to like
to the mic, yes.
work on my diet, to see what I'm feeding on, because I was eating jiva machipo. So some comments are positive, they make you better, but let's just be positive about it and report these things. Usinyamazie, ukipigwa report. Hakuna venye nitachapa mimi nikuje ninyamaze. Nitakuja niambie rafiki yangu juu the moment ishaanza kukua violence, that red flag itakuja kukua red carpet. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Mrembo Mcheshi.
Yes, good morning everyone.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, just like Brenda has said, nilikuwa yani nachemka ndani mwa Maraka alipokuwa anaongea hapa. Manake tunaangalia sana ni kama wanawake ndio kila saa, ndio shida, ndio makosa, ndio kila kitu, lakini uangalie wakati ule ambao wewe mwenyewe umemwambia hebu njoo na pesa zako nitakurudishia. Na labda amekuja pale wewe mwenyewe umekataa kuja. Alafu tena unaanza kumwekelea makosa. What I'm trying to say is most of the times we normally get ourselves victimized for no reason, even when the mistake has been done by the guy. We find now the ladies, we are the ones who have been victimized. And then you realize that now when that time comes, we get so much demoralized, we get depressed, simply because somebody just a word, and it made us feel so bad. And now I was just asking, these things that we normally do, small things that they make us they make us victims. Something simple like my phone, I have a photo. I have told my friend, hey, look at this photo that I have. And now this friend of mine will not look at that photo and stop there. We'll just go and access all the other photos that I have. And you may find this friend of mine, without me knowing, maybe I sent the photo to herself, to himself, and now use that photo to just spread it and post it and all that. Like the video of the Mama Mboga from Meru, that was just trending everywhere. So I think maybe our panelists can tell us the measures that we are supposed to take to avoid finding ourselves in such, just from the simple things that we just look at them as simple, but now they lead us to such.
They can have heavy impact. Yeah. Thank you. All right, one last one, and then we go on a break.
Okay. I'm Frederick Odero, CEO Rongo Hood. I'm not going to support that because, okay, ladies, you're supposed to tell us the truth. You are not supposed to lie to us, to send you the fire to come, but you are not going to make it to come. So it is very, very painful for you people to cheat on us. Just tell us the truth that I'm coming or you are not coming. You never know where I don't have the money or I just go to ask my friend money to send you to come to visit me at home. So you're supposed to speak the truth. So let us just be people who normally speak the truth to the lovers at home. So let us not try to lie to one another.
Haki, you know what? Let's take a break. What's happened the break? Tutarudi na wewe. Hey, it's heavy, okay? But let's see what people on WhatsApp say in relation to the discussion and also to the question of the day. Okay, this one says, if we can just scroll up so that we see the beginning of the question comment. Okay, all right. So this one says, hello, saying that women should just eat money or fare and saying pesa iogele hapo, no. Just say that wache tamaa mingi to avoid such issues. But also, lazima mtu fare. Okay. This one says, hello, your world. Mimi swali yangu ni, why would a woman, a lady or a girl lie or manipulate a man into thinking that she's interested in him just to get financial benefits? I see your panelists say, Atisio lazima I pay you for giving me cash. But what if you, the lady, lied to this man, tricked this man, even seduced him suggestively, and he believes it's love, only to find out you've been, can we scroll down so that we continue to, only to find out that you've been slandering or swindling him. Do you know what it does to a man's head? Okay. Good morning, your world. My name is Luther. I am 22, currently a third-year student. I'm enjoying this intriguing show. And my takeaway is that cybersecurity starts with me. Actually, the only social media platform I use is WhatsApp exclusively. Though, I also don't post or view any statuses. I made a decision to stay off social media a few years ago, and I've never been this peaceful. It has given me time to focus on myself. Sometimes I think it's selfish, but I choose peace. I choose my peace of mind. Okay, this one says, I really like the conversation about GBV. However, you are not talking about what the boy child goes through, but we not speak out about it. Okay. Then this one says, wait, Philip. Okay, this one says, hi, Lewis. How to end online gender-based violence? To end online gender-based violence, we need 1, personal safety, use strong passwords and privacy settings, block, mute, and report abuse. Keep evidence like screenshots, okay? And then there was another one. I think we've gone through this. There was another one. Yes, however, or no, and says, and also they should have a way to talk to them and make them to open about gender-based violence. You know what? Let's take a break. And then when we come back, we'll address all these issues, plus issue kukula fair, plus, all these other issues and the questions that have come up, but also on the question of the day, and that is, have you ever experienced any form of cyberbullying? We'll also go through your feedback after the break. Do stay with us. Clearly, there's a lot that we need to unpack, okay? So see you after the break. Welcome back. Officially in the last few minutes before we say goodbye, na kumewaka moto huku, okay? And it's a Monday, but it's a good thing because it's the beginning of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And this year the focus is on technology-facilitated violence, okay? And we're looking at, first of all, what does it look like? What does the perpetrator look like? And what is it that we can use technology, say in the digital spaces, and use it in a safe way, that does not promote any form of gender-based violence? And really, this campaign it's important for all of us, and not just wait until, November, December for us to talk about it. We should talk about it, throughout the year. And before the break, hey, mambo ya fair. Lazima mtu atume fare, wacha tu basi tuulize hivyo, okay? Na mkituma fare, si utumie online taxis walipe directly to the driver, like something. It's something. Sylvia, I want to start with you because, hey,
this is a lot.
It's a lot.
I wonder where to start, but I'll do my best. First, okay, let's say GBV is one of the biggest crimes against human rights in the world. Let's start with that. Personal safety is a human right. Most, if not all, constitutions in the world acknowledge that. The right to life. Our own Kenyan constitution acknowledges this. So let's start by putting that on the table. Secondly, women have a right to be safe online, in person and online. Just the same way men have a right to be safe online and in person. But what I'm hearing from this conversation and what our colleague here has said, I know it has really raised concerns and even tempers and palpitations and hyperventilation. But the truth is also only 10% of global initiatives to prevent GBV are actually targeted at men and boys. And what I'm hearing is a lot of pain.
Clearly.
Of course, it's quite inflammatory, if I can use that word, or infuriating to hear those kind of sentiments and knowing that they're genuine. And I feel like those might be the sentiments of very many people, young men and boys in Kenya and maybe the region as well. But I feel like there's a lot of pain related to that, because the pain even you hear on the WhatsApp conversations is, how can my money just go like that? Like, what do you mean my money just... Yeah, do you know how that makes me feel? And even there's one who put a comment of, do you know what that man does to a man's head? And he put 2 question marks, you know, like emphasis, you know? So that's coming from a very painful place. And I think it's an issue of economic empowerment, of I've gone out of my way to send this money to someone and on the understanding that ABCD, but the person did not deliver their part. But again, let's go back to the laws and the constitutions and basic human rights and dignity. Yeah, whatever that person does, whether they've lied, whether they've cheated, whether they've made off with your money, it still does not give you a right to take their life. It doesn't give you a right to physically or sexually violate them. Yes, it may be offensive, but if we go back and look at also what women endure, I mean, it's not only men maybe who endure negative circumstances in relationships. We won't talk about women who complain about being cheated on, women who complain about being deprived in one way or another, and oppressed. Yeah, and even just as Dr. Molly talked about, it's not even just in relationships, even in wider society. Actually, globally, you find 1 out of 4 women journalists have complained of being violated online. And for women parliamentarians, I think the number is up to 38 or 40%. Yeah, women in public leadership, and some of them even withdraw from public leadership. So you can see this kind of violations are having very negative economic, livelihood, psychological, and physical repercussions on people. We won't even talk about the national economic cost, because GBV costs the country. Yeah, when we talk about medical care for those who have been violated, even psychological care, we talk about the justice system getting clogged up. We've seen in hotspots like Shanzu in Mombasa, Busia, Kisumu, I think Kilifi might be another one of them, I'm forgetting. But we've even set up special sexual GBV courts, like Koti Mzima. You know, like how a few years ago we set up wards in hospitals just for border accidents because it was that bad. Now that's how we've gone with sexual and GBV, sexual GBV, right? Like we need special dedicated courts to ensure that the justice system moves forward faster and delivers justice for the victims and survivors. When we talk about that men are also wanaadhirika, they are also affected by GBV, it's just that they don't speak. It's true, reporting is low, but even for women, the numbers are still conservative. They are high, but they're not even everyone who has reported or who has endured GBV. And if you look at hospitals and the judicial system, you can get infallible numbers that you cannot argue with. Because if someone is violated to a point of being injured, they will definitely end up in a clinic, dispensary, hospital, and the numbers from those institutions show that it's still women who are very severely affected. So we can't argue with those numbers, unfortunately. So there may be the perception that, oh, wanaume wanaadhirika, but you know, men can't talk, you know, ego. There's that, it's true. But even if we inflate the numbers, they are not anywhere near what girls and women are going through. So I think a lot of it is really just understanding where men and boys are coming from. And I'm sensing also a lot of anger beyond the pain, a lot of anger. And there's a quote I like. I never remember it completely as it was said, but it says something to the effect of, when someone has privilege and then someone else is starting to be given equal rights, the person who has privilege starts feeling like they're being robbed. Yet it's not that we are taking what you have, we're just also being given what you have. So I think we need to keep that in mind and really, again, come back to the human and fundamental level of
human rights.
Everyone has a right to life. Everyone has a right to exist safely, in peace. I mean, even their property rights. If even your property has a right to exist safely.
Surely, what does that say of
really? How much more my own personal body, myself. You know,
the right to,
I think let's keep that in mind. And even as we feel angered or violated by the actions of a spouse or an ex or whatever, which, those frustrations are valid, we agree. But the action or the repercussions of going all the way to femicide or injury, or like the example he gave, which was very painful, of 4 friends ganged up on a girl because she had rejected someone, and what I understood is they gang raped her. I mean, that is beyond horrific. We are not doing that in a civilized society. In fact, the mantra, as we all know, there's no excuse for GBV. There's no excuse for online GBV. There's just no excuse
whatsoever. I really, really agree with that. All right, Doc, I want to bring you into this, and then Dr. Molly as well, to just respond to what was brought up before the break.
Yeah, I think so much has been raised in terms of, how people conduct themselves online. From where I come from, we look at an empowered woman as being an empowered community. Yeah, and if we maintain that mantra, it means that when you empower a woman in terms of economy, education, and so on, then many people will benefit from that. We look at the nature of women in the community where they're known to be homekeepers or home managers for that matter, and that brings a lot of benefits to a lot of people in the community. That means that, therefore, that some of those biases, stereotypes that we hear about entitlement, women need to be suppressed, and so on, in my honest wisdom, should not be tolerated. In terms of how we conduct ourselves, again, online, I believe there's a lot of disintegration of our morals in the society. Unfortunately, technology that was developed by serious scientists in serious labs, not even in Kenya, very few Kenyans are just beginning to develop these technologies, is really being abused. That is why I like one of the offenses under the Kenya Information and Communications Act, where they say a misuse of a licensed telecommunications facility. That an SMS was designed for business and personal communication. So when you use it to hurl insults, it becomes a misuse. And that charge is normally read together with another one, and they make it very, very watertight, because really technology is to do so much harm. People are hiding behind technology to, against some of the ills they do. It's unfortunate that technology has become the new theater of crime. The mobile devices that we have become the new scene of crime. Because we believe that a lot of things can be disguised in those mobile phones. The communication, I can send you a text and say, hi, I hate you, I'll kill you, then delete. Okay? That I can say that because I'm shy, I can say, I love you, I miss you. One day, itachukua loan, itakupata. And when you meet the corridor, that's a colleague in the office. We meet like nothing happened. Okay? Yeah, that kind of audacity that people get from what they do online. That's what people get, a lot of things happen within that space. So that brings the perspective of computer misuse and cybercrime. So I know somebody asked if Cool Affair is cybercrime. I would say it is not cybercrime, but it could be computer misuse because the transaction was done over a computer network. Okay, the contract was signed and approved over and facilitated over a computer network. It could be other offenses, obtaining money by false pretense, and so on and so forth. So we're seeing a society which is morally disintegrating. Integrity is one thing that we really don't cherish, because, somebody's not seeing you physically, you can say, uko wapi? I'm in Rongai, while ideally you are in Kiambu. Okay? Then it also brings the issue of, let me say it, I don't care attitude. Utadu? All right? And that is why even people know that akintumia pesa, hata jua niko wapi, hata nikikula, atadu. Yeah, and that is really hurting to those who feel shortchanged in that game. And that brings the issue about tolerance and so on and so forth. If I emphasize something that Sylvia mentioned about the homosphere and so on, I don't know, but to what extent is a society, as we are, doing intervening in some of the physical homospheres that are being created. Let me speak without fear. One of these things that we hear about, the men's conference, for example, okay? Some of these associations, whether virtual, real, or unreal, Association of Stingy Men of Kenya, for example, okay? What are their philosophies and what are they pushing? Yeah. Have you heard about them? Yes. Is there a website? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So then some of these, they could be having websites. In fact, they have national officials who get elected on a 3-year rotational basis. Yeah. But if you see some of these things they're pushing in, and now it becomes that guy was so stingy. So it was justified that the money he sent me for ABCD, I use it elsewhere. Yeah. So I think the social fabric really needs to be reinterrogated. As a patriotic Kenyan, I really believe in the rule of law. And I therefore urge everyone not to take the law into their hands.
Yes.
Seek justice for as long as it may take, but don't take the law into your hands and start punishing your purported offenders in the name of GBV. It is not right, it's not unwarranted, because we must live with dignity as a society.
I really like that. Yeah.
As he's saying also, when we talk about taking the law into our own hands, and we're talking about this feeling aggrieved because of fare, let's break it down. How much is this fare? Let's even say the fare is 5,000, a whole 5,000, which of course we know it is not, because you're not transporting someone to, I don't know, the South Africa or wherever by road, or, you know, even to Tanzania, you won't pay 5,000, right? So is a woman or a human being's life really worth that 5,000? Yeah, that would warrant, you're so aggrieved by this 5,000. Yes, it's true, you may have gone to Mjengo, you've sweated for this money, nobody's refusing, times are tough. But is a human being's life worth that fare? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. And I know this question is also a cliche, like these men and boys or members of society who feel that they are justified in killing or harming or violating women and girls, whether online or offline. We keep asking this question: do they have sisters? Do they have cousins? Do they have friends who are ladies who they care about? Why do they think that what they're doing will not be done to their sisters or their loved ones?
Friends.
Some have daughters. You know, actually, it's so interesting. There are some of these leaders of the manosphere in Kenya. I will not name them. They know themselves. Some have been even interviewed on big TV shows and all. But what amazes me about some of them is, as they are spewing all this, and forgive me, I'll call it vitriol, because it's a lot of negativity towards women and girls, and as I said, dehumanizing them. On their home front, they are model men. Model men, and I have a real life example, which I won't give just because it may not be very appropriate. A Kenyan, well known, not too much older than me and Dr. Njoga here, also a Gen X, a respectable member, well educated, well exposed, well traveled, and also happens to be quite a prolific author. But he's very happily married with wonderful children. And if you see them online in their matching kitenges, you won't believe it. And you'll see online all his posts, apart from when he's not on the manosphere. You know, there's the real profile and the other profile of the manosphere, where it's like, men, let's go. The one that's not men, let's go. The one of it's me as a dad and a husband. You should see him celebrating his wife's milestones, celebrating she got her master's. Meanwhile, the photos that they've taken, she's literally wearing a crown on her head, the wife, and they're showing how this is my queen. But on the manosphere, he's busy misleading Kenyan men and boys and others, which really makes me wonder, what is the agenda here? Is it clout chasing? Does he really believe what he's even telling men and boys? And they follow blindly. And there's actually many posts where you'll read and you'll hear them saying, yes, master. It's a cultic following, actually, and that's just one that I know of. I haven't interrogated the other few who are many who we know. But why are they misleading men and boys when on the home front they know better than what they're telling people out there? So we need to really ask ourselves, what are we believing online? And we need to remind ourselves, don't believe everything you read and see online. Like Dr. Njoga is saying, some people post things of how they're doing so well, and maybe they're not doing that well. We've had people called out because maybe they posted some fancy holiday or some fancy meal they were having, and people of the internet who are always investigating were like, that photo is not genuine, and they're trolled for days because of living a lie. You know, so we shouldn't believe everything we see online, and I think that comes to a big part of digital literacy, which is one of the things that we're also pushing. Can women and girls, and even men and boys, be brought up in terms of digital literacy and to know what to post when and how, even as Dr. Njoga said.
Or at what point to actually have a digital, footprint, digital
Exactly. I feel like actually too many people are having this access when they are too young. And like Dr. Njoga said, actually the phone, the internet and the smartphone has become a crime scene. So like even for me, I have really discouraged a smartphone for my children. Yet they're teenagers. Of course, one of them is not very happy about this, to remain unnamed. But I mean, for now, I'm like, you have your tablet. Of course, it's an unwieldy gadget. It's not something you can put in your pocket and be cool about. But that's what you need. You use it for school. You use it for important things. But we're not doing a smartphone because are you old enough to understand the danger out there? And also to respond to one of the things that was said here about about men and boys being really the true victims. When we look at some types of online GBV, there's one particular one called deep faking. Yeah, I'm sure the panelists are familiar with that, which basically is very heavily attributed to the rise of AI, which AI is good, but it's also putting more women and girls in danger, because deep faking is basically when someone takes your likeness and kind of manipulates it with internet or digital technology to look a certain way. So I'll take this nice picture of Winnie seated there, very presentable, and manipulate it to make it look like she was here dressed in a very different way or not dressed at all. And those kind of images are very, very harmful. And the numbers, the data, again, I'll keep going back to the data. The data says that 90 to 95% of deep fake images are of women in sexualized positions. 90 to 95. You don't see photos of men like that. Yeah, so I know there's this narrative, no, it's men who are being disadvantaged. No, it's not.
I can see him. I can see his face. Can we allow Dr. Mwali and then
to that, and that's actually based on technology, and which we say is quite of a challenge. If you look at the many algorithms that we have, especially for moderating and dealing with the content online, which would say those biases actually contributing to GBV. If you look at when we started having challenges of terrorism, for example, it became very explicitly mentioned. And in terms of content moderation online, any article with the word terrorism would be flagged and reviewed. If it is maybe just a report, but if it is flagged towards radicalization and so on and so forth, it would be brought down. So as it is now, and researchers and practitioners can agree, there is no clarity in terms of what is explicit GBV online. Therefore, you find that a lot of these images would actually go. Then, looking at now how the media is tuned, that what will attract many clicks, many follows, many forwards is what should be retained, because that's what sells. Therefore, that propagation should continue. So we should really invest in technologies that can really moderate the propagation of that kind of content online.
I see. Thanks, Doc. And Dr. Mwali, come out to fungia show because our time is it's far much spent. And clearly, this creates avenues for more discussions to come, even after this. But hey, Dr. Mwali, in like a minute or so before we chased out of the studio.
I am concerned because when we are talking about the digital, it's human beings who are behind what all this is happening, and for my interest is in the human being, the way they think and even their emotions, because as the audience have responded just before we went to the break, the stories they are giving is actual human beings propagating this. And so where did the rain start beating us? And I think we need to go back to socialization, because socialization is where we are taught how to deal with other human beings, and we need to teach people how well to relate with others in form of respect, to be kind to them. How do they communicate? How do they manage their emotions? Because as we talk about this issue of eating fair, it's just the person, the fare was eaten, they became angered, and the moment you become emotional, the logic part of the brain does not work very well. So at the end of the day, you think about revenge. But if you are socialized in a way that okay, many things can go wrong, including your investment in a plot or something can go wrong, but what do you need to do? Yes, you acknowledge that it was bad. I feel that whatever this person have done is not right. However, how do I behave? So that you behave in a way that is appropriate, that is safe for everyone. There is ways and mechanism, as Dr. David is saying, how to address those grievances. But I think in this relationship issue about fair and people being intimate and all that, people don't think that the law applies. And so they are like, you eat my fare, I beat you up, or I think about how to punish you. But if people were socialized in a way that we respect human beings for who they are, we look at how do we make it better, how do we discuss things, what are the conflict resolution resolution mechanism. And so we invite people for therapy, professional therapy, because somebody should look for a therapist. Okay, she ate my fare. How do I feel? I acknowledge that that's not good. And for sure, we acknowledge those who eat fare. They are dishonest. They have an integrity issue, which is not good. Okay. However, we don't resort into too long. Don't make it light. Yeah. So we need. I think we need just proper socialization on how to relate with human beings, and we also, as a society, acquire the right values so that I don't anger you to a point that you are feeling I better go to jail, but I deal with this one. So, and also emotional intelligence is very, very important.
Thanks, Dr. Modley. Listen, time is not on our side, but hey, it doesn't mean that the conversation ends here. Let's keep it, going throughout the day and in the coming days and the coming weeks, even as we mark 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And in this case, we're looking at technology-facilitated gender-based violence. Before we close, can we look at one or two feedback from to our WhatsApp? Okay, so this one says, hello, how are men protected against GBV? Should GBV be taught to everyone, especially school-going kids, so that people grow up knowing and differentiating love from abuse, peaceful relationship from toxic? Okay. Then this one says, just came late, but I like the show. We need to condemn gender-based violence, come rain, come sunshine. As people, we need not justify anything leading to gender-based violence, whether positive or negative. As a society, we need to learn to solve problems when they emerge. Okay. Then this one says, hello there. I am a male youth from Sagana, and the show is amazing. I wanted to add a point on gender-based violence. Some of these events are caused by the toxic masculinity by alpha males. Hey, i.e. Andrew Tate, who teach our boys that being on the feminine side is being weak and that it is not being a real man, which is false, because a real mature man respects a woman whether having problems or not. Plus, I think we should teach young boys and girls starting from primary schools to secondary schools about things like this so that they try and reduce it, okay? And then this one says, hello, good morning. On my side, what I have to say about the fair case. If unapenda mtu, you use your fare. But here at Ituma Fair, I will come, it's a scam. Ladies, stop playing with boy child's feelings through weaknesses. Is that what they said? Listen, we don't have time. There's so much feedback. But hey, like I said, this is not the end of this conversation. Let's keep it going. And also in the coming weeks, right here in Your World, we'll be discussing the same. But for now, allow us to say goodbye, and a special thanks to you, Dr. Modley, Dr. David. I was about to call you Dr. Justice. Dr. David and Sylvia as well. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you for being an amazing, amazing audience. We'll see you again, some other time as we discuss this very important conversation. But tomorrow is Relationship Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. But keep the conversation going for the rest of the day. My name is Zini Lubembe. God bless and goodbye.